A shout out to Scholastica Cooney and our followers who asked us to do this video.
I read this really scary review about a potential bike rack that I was thinking about purchasing. This particular bike rack became unhinged from the back of the person's car and he lost all his bikes on the highway. So this could be your biggest nightmare. I realized that all bike racks are not the same. So how can we all transport our bikes safely? In the beginning when I started, I put my bike inside my car. Sometimes I had to take the wheel off and then that would throw off the brake system of the bike. It just was not an ideal situation. So my first bike rack was around $50, $60 and it was a hanging bike rack. I bought an e-bike and it was just too heavy for this particular hanging rack and I didn't want my expensive bikes to be bye-bye on the highway. So where do we start? You know, you start online, you start looking, and there's all kinds of different rack types and which one is best for you. There is a hanging, there's tray, there's roof, there's vertical bike racks to consider. What are they? How are they best fit for you? What are the hanging racks and what are the pros and cons to these racks? These racks usually cost less. I got mine for about $50, $60. They weigh less, but over time, lifting the rack from the back of my car trunk door, it started wearing down the hinges of my car and I ended up having to replace the hinges. The canvas material that holds up the metal rack on the back started to weaken with over time. But you can see with this rack, it has damaged part of the car. With this rack, you have to lift your bike over about 4 feet to get it on the rack. Some bikes will not fit on this kind of rack. Most of them, you're only able to carry 2 bikes that weigh under about 70 pounds total. Another thing to be aware of is this might obstruct the view of your back camera on your vehicle. When I purchased the e-bike, the weight of the bike was over 40 pounds plus my other bike, so that meant that this bike rack was not going to support these bikes. There are pros to this rack. I enjoyed it for many, many years. You don't need to get a hitch installed, and they're very easy to install. So Hitch Rack Upscale. These are racks that are more sturdy, they're more expensive. You still have to lift the weight of your bike onto the tubes. There is a particular weight limit for these.
One of the cons is you have to lift it up higher.
And you do need to get a hitch put on your vehicle. So you can purchase the hitch and put it on yourself, but I don't trust myself putting the hitch on to support my baby. You can get a car mechanic to put the hitch on. You can get the dealership. What I personally did is I went to U-Haul and they put the hitch on. Some of these racks can swing out, fold down, lift up, so you're able to have access to the back trunk of your vehicle. Tray type racks have indentations for your bike tires to rest. These racks can swing out or fold down to lift up the back gate of your vehicle so you can have access to your trunk. These are typically heavier and sturdier to accommodate mountain bikes, e-bikes. You could put probably more than 100 pounds on these particular bike racks. These racks are lower to the ground. You don't have to lift your bike over your head to get the bike on the rack. Also, you can buy a ramp to put on the side so there's no lifting required. You can just wheel your bike right on to the rack from the ramp.
I want one of those.
This comes with a ramp.
Oh, it does?
Yes.
These also will show up on your car rear camera. It obscures the view a little. These racks can be more expensive, so you could take it off and on for every ride. Roof racks. Roof racks are a great option for cars with limited hitch space. They can be more difficult to load and unload.
But you have to lift it up there by hand?
Yeah, that's the hard part. And then you swing this bar up.
Oh, I see.
This bike rack makes it much easier for you to open and close the back door. Another pro, say if you got rear-ended by another car, your bikes are on top of the roof, so they would be safe. Vertical bike racks. These particular racks are used to transport mountain bikes. These racks can hold up to 6 or 7 bikes in an upright position. You can easily access your trunk. They are easy to load up, Some of the racks cannot hold regular bikes, so that's something you have to check. Can also carry up to 300 pounds. Still have to lift the bikes vertically.
Another thing to point out about bike racks is
when you buy a bike rack that's for a hitch mounted car, you definitely want to get one that locks. They have a couple types of hitch locks. You have one that just goes through the pinhole, and it comes with a separate lock, and it just goes over and it locks. No one can really pull the pin out to get the hitch off. The other ones are built in, where it screws the tighten, loosen to obviously get the rack off. But after you tighten the rack, you turn the key and you lock it, and then the ball that you loosen or knob that you loosen or tighten just spins freely. So there's no way to get it off until you unlock it. Then it clicks into place. Then you can loosen it to take the rack off. So those are the best kind of racks to get, so that it prevents a ton of theft.
Very nice. That is very nice. Easy off, easy on. And it's got wheels. Good God. There we go. There we go.
Hopefully all this information will help you decide what kind of bike rack is best for you.
hope to see you riding.